fans, welcome to 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. I'm your host, Christian Crosby, and as you can see, Squad 7-6 is just as excited as always for Sixers game day. Shout out to the Sixers Stixers giving us the energy because Sixers basketball is back once again. I want to give a big shout out to Black History Month. The Sixers will be telling stories all month long in honor of Black History Month. Be sure to follow that. Not only in game, we're going to be doing stuff, but on Twitter, be sure to check out Sixers Social honoring Black History Month. But I got to tell you guys something. Today is a very special day. That's right. NBA All-Star Voting 2021 presented by AT&T is happening big time today. That's right. We're pushing for Joel. We're pushing for Ben Simmons. We're pushing for Tobias Harris. And today is a 2-for-1 special. We need you guys to vote. You can not only vote on the NBA app, you can vote on NBA.com, and you can vote on Twitter, which most people like to do. So here are the rules. Hashtag NBA votes, and then hashtag your favorite player's first and last name. For example, hashtag NBA vote, hashtag Joel Embiid. Hashtag NBA vote, hashtag Ben Simmons. You guys pretty much get it, right? Get your votes in today because they count as 2 votes today, not 1. Let's get our guys in that All-Star game like we always do. All right, moving along. I gotta tell you guys something. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Wendy's Frosty Freeze Out is still here. Wendy's Frosty Freeze Out, y'all. Look, I always like to shout out Squad 7-6 for this because we love Frosty. Let me remind you guys how this works. When the opposing team goes to that line in the second half of the game, when they miss 2 free throws, we all get a Frosty. Now, if they do it twice, we get a small Frosty and a small fry. And if they do it 3 times, ladies and gentlemen, you get a medium Frosty and a medium fry. We are excited as can be for Sixers basketball today. You are tuned in to 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. Let's go, Sixers!
Thank you, Christian Crosby and Squad 7-6. The 76ers are ready to go tonight back at home. We just saw them last night. Furkan Korkmaz and company warming up at the center. Shake Milton, a strong showing off the bench last night. It was great to see him get back in the game after an injury scare and getting ready to go for tonight's matchup. And yes, second-year man Matisse Thybulle on the rise in the midst of a great stretch. He and the 76ers in a good stretch as well as they look to continue their winning streak tonight at home at the center against the Portland Trail Blazers. Good evening. Hello. Welcome to 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. I'm Brian Seltzer. Lauren Rosen is at the center. If it feels like we just did this probably 25 hours or so ago, you're not out of your mind. We did. Second night of a back-to-back. The 76ers now off the road, back in South Philly, Lauren, but they come home from that trip with a perfect 3 wins in the 3 games, which was a great thing to see.
And that's got to feel good. Win all 3 of your games, which was their mission, of course, on this road trip. Last night, the starting unit went all together, rose to 12-0, which is just crazy for a group of starters that had not played together before this season. Of course, tonight, we just learned that Ben Simmons will not be available, but we'll see maybe some Tyrese Maxey action, maybe some Shake Milton action in that starting lineup. And this team has seen lots of success at home, regardless of who has been available.
For better or worse, Lauren, this group has practice playing with and without its starters. Ben Simmons, left calf strain. Doc Rivers said a few moments ago he doesn't think the injury is too serious. Of course, things will be reevaluated tomorrow and leading into Saturday's game against the Brooklyn Nets. But yes, the 76ers, 4-game winning streak. It's currently the longest in the NBA. You'll love that. Their home record is best in the Eastern Conference. Their overall record, best in the Eastern Conference. Their road record, tied for the best in the Eastern Conference. So the Sixers are defeating the teams in front of them on the schedule. They have a matchup against a Portland team tonight that's 11-9. The Sixers are 16-6. And on a normal night, Lauren, Portland would be very formidable. They obviously have, when fully healthy, the dynamic all-star backcourt of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, but neither of those two players are available tonight. Neither is Yusuf Nurkic, Derek Jones Jr., really some pretty substantial injury issues for the Trailblazers.
Indeed, I would add to that list just because I have it pulled up, Zach Collins and Nasir Little also out for the Trailblazers. So as the 76ers have been caught shorthanded more than a couple times already this season, so too will the Trailblazers be tonight. If you're a Sixers fan, you'd like to see the Sixers take this one rather handily due to how shorthanded Portland will be.
And I think the good news, Lauren, for the 76ers, going back to what you said, whether it's someone like Tyrese Maxey or Shake Milton, maybe it's a completely different concept that Doc Rivers has in mind for replacing Ben Simmons tonight. Sixers, in this still relatively young season, have been there before and done that successfully in terms of guys filling in for Ben. Last night, the Sixers, Lauren, got off to an amazing start against the Charlotte Hornets. They won the game 118 to 111. Charlotte got to within 5 in the closing minutes. But that first quarter, I think it might have been impossible for human nature not to have crept in for the Sixers. They jumped out to a 30-13 lead in the first quarter, and Joel Embiid played, in my opinion, one of the best stretches of basketball, or at least most entertaining and enjoyable stretches of basketball in his career.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Celts. That first quarter, like you said, a 30-13 advantage for the Sixers. Joel Embiid, in his 10 minutes of play in the first quarter, 13 points, 6 rebounds, a steal, a block, a game-high plus 16. He was 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. He was just so dominant in that first quarter of basketball, showing everybody why he is a prime MVP candidate this season. And why, as we'll talk about later, you guys should be continuing to vote for Joel for All-Star. Today, votes count twice. So whether you're doing that through the NBA's site or through Twitter, make sure you're voting for Joel, Ben, and Tobias to make it to the All-Star game.
So as we talked about the Sixers, you see Ben scoring right here. And then this play involving Joel Embiid, one of his finest, certainly of this season. Sixers got off to a great start. They jumped out to a 30-13 lead. Joe was doing everything with that slam. Say, get out the way, Cody Zeller and Gordon Hayward. Comes back down. The next trip knocks down a 3. Some more good stuff from the Sixers here. Yeah, they really controlled the game early on, Lauren, went up by as much as 26. And Charlotte got back in it. And personally, I think it's almost, like I said, impossible not to, when you get out to that early of a lead, perhaps let your guard down a little bit. The good news was they still closed things out in the end. As you see, Danny Green had a nice game, hit a big 3, and they ended up capping off the trip in perfect fashion.
Yes, indeed. A win is a win. They all count the same. I'd like to go back to that first quarter, though. We talked about Joel Embiid's dominance, but the defense was just so strong in the first quarter, holding Charlotte to 22.7% from the field, 9.1% from 3. The defense really was firing, and Doc Rivers talked about it post-game. He said, yes, the team could have been much better in the second half, but he's not sure that they could have been much better in the first half. That's how strong the Sixers came out last night. And like we've already said, a win is a win, and they managed to get it done on the road 3 times in a row.
You're seeing some of the key performers highlighted on the bottom of your screen. Danny Green played really well, some key 3-pointers. And yeah, I thought in that first half, I was sitting there thinking last night watching the game, I'm not sure if, as currently constructed, there could have been a better version, Lauren, of the Sixers than what we saw in that first half, to Doc's point. Because defensively, totally keyed in. They were balanced offensively, doing some scoring inside at the line and efficient with their 3s, rebounding the basketball really well. It was a great look for the 76ers, as I think for them, their goal is to round further into form as we hit the middle point of this season.
Right, you are. Just to look, and I gave you guys those first quarter statistics. In the second quarter, almost as good. At halftime, the Hornets were shooting just 35% from the field, 17% from 3. Again, this is a team that wants to make their mark on defense. They want to set the tone on defense. And last night, while the second half, not as great as they wanted to be, certainly set the tone on the defensive end.
Doc Rivers weighed in after the 76ers' 4th straight dub.
You know, it's funny. I always laugh, like, we earned that big lead by playing well. And then when you don't play well in the second half, sometimes you can get lost on just that you didn't play well in that half and not think about all the things we did to get a 24-point lead. Clearly we let our foot up for sure, lost our focus and all that. But we did enough to win on the road. I'll take that. A lot of teaching moments for us, and that's the way I told them after the game that we're better than we played in the second half, but we couldn't play much better in the first half. So I try to look at it the whole way, but going on the trip, being 3-0, that was our goal coming out, and that's what we did.
Great. You can't complain with those results. I really like that philosophy and perspective by Doc Rivers. If the Sixers had come from behind in the second half after trailing at halftime and played the way they did in the first half, it's a what have you done for me lately world that we're living in, I feel.
No doubt about it. And as we always say, a win is a win. They all count for the same amount. And they had a couple other good wins on the road this week as well. So overall, job well done to the 76ers on the road this week. They've emphasized time and time again that they want to be a strong road team. And certainly when the starters are all playing, they are a strong road team, and they're continuing to get better even when not everybody's available.
I think we just need to have a standing block in the show rundown every night, Lauren, for Joel Embiid does what? Taking a closer look at that performance from him last night, first quarter, some of the numbers. He just, to continue the conversation about that, he looks as smooth on the eyes as that full screen graphic right there. Everything to him, Lauren, it seems, is just so effortless and easy.
He's making hard things look so simple, especially for a big man with the soft touch, with the quick feet. You see him here going through traffic as he does best, but it's so effortless. Like you said, getting it done on both ends. Doesn't look like he's working all that hard to get the crazy numbers that he is getting. And it's just been a pleasure watching Joel Embiid this season. I don't know what else I can say.
Why don't we say this? How about his comments afterwards on NBC Sports Philadelphia to the great Mark Zumoff, who asked him about his other job, being a dad to young Arthur? Was that not heartwarming to hear Joel Embiid talk at length? He was going on and on and on about how awesome it's been being a father, how tough it is being on the road, but how inspiring his young son has been for him. I thought that was great.
Celts, I'm a sucker for wholesome content, and hearing Joel Embiid say that he wants to become a Hall of Famer so that his son Arthur knows, hey, my dad is a Hall of Famer. I mean, Joel's had lofty goals since he entered this league, but it is really cool to see him entering fatherhood and having something else now to inspire him and to drive him. And he is a very private guy, as he mentioned in that interview, so it was all the more special to hear him talk about something so important to him. So obviously, congrats to Joel and his family, and a pleasure to hear about how well things are going with his son.
For as encouraging as it's been seeing the 76ers get some individual recognitions, both for players and their coach, Doc Rivers, the first month and a half of this season, I think even more promising is that the mantra from within is, we're not satisfied with this. We're still hungry. And that's something that Tobias Harris talked about, the team wanting to continue to improve as the season goes along following the victory yesterday.
Doc is always on us to not get content and to be better than we were last game. No matter who we're playing against, if we're playing against the reigning champions or if we're playing against a team that had the worst record in the NBA. So he's always on us, and the biggest thing that he's on us is to respect our opponent. And when you play against different teams across the league, you have to bring it every single night. It could be somebody's night. A team like Charlotte, they've been playing really good basketball this season, and as of late too, they've knocked out some really good teams. Young, scrappy team that kept fighting. So for us, Doc is on us mentally before games. He's always, getting on guys, asking them, are they ready? So that's that mental edge that he wants our team to have, and that focus that we have to have, that every single night we have a formula for success, and we got to stay with it.
A nice look into the coaching approach of Doc Rivers, courtesy of some insights from Tobias Harris, who had another strong game last night with 26 points. And at this point, Lauren, shall we give you an update on the first fan returns in NBA All-Star voting. Great news for Joel Embiid. He's third among all Eastern Conference players with about 1.5 million fan votes, fifth overall in the returns among all NBA players. Listen, we know this is not a local problem. We see the support on 76ers social and Sixers Twitter. But the other two fellas, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, I'll say it, they could use a little bit more of a boost. Vote frequently and regularly. Put it in your daily set of reminders. Ben Simmons, he's 10th among guards in the Eastern Conference. We got to get Tobias Harris onto that list. He is playing excellent. And again, I know the fans of the team, they know this, but spread the word. Be a voting ambassador for some of your top performing 76ers. Tobias has had an amazing season. His splits only duplicated or exceeded by one other player in the league, and that would be Kevin Durant. He has been having an amazing season so far. Wednesday, just the latest example. So start hitting the retweet. Hashtag the player name or tag him, and then also hashtag NBA All-Star.
And of course, I would imagine if you are watching with us right now, you have already voted for All-Star or you are planning to vote for All-Star in the next few moments. But yeah, so it's like you said, would be great to see Tobias Harris break onto that list. He is playing some of the best basketball, if not the best basketball in his career. He is averaging 20.6 points per game, 6.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, almost a block and almost a steal per game, showing that he can make an impact on defense and offense. And like you said, his average is just phenomenal, shooting 51.5% from the floor, 45.5% from three. He's been so efficient, so decisive, and so effective for this team, not to mention his game winner over the Lakers. So if nothing else, I believe Tobias Harris deserves some extra votes, some extra love from the Sixers community. So go ahead and make sure you are punching the RT whenever the Sixers are posting about this. Post about it yourself. Ben Simmons, the same. Would be great to see him rise up from that 10th position among guards. Please, please, please vote for your favorite Sixers if you want to see them in the All-Star game.
And there is going to be, it looks like, an All-Star game March 7th in Atlanta. That's the other thing. This isn't just a token acknowledgement to put on the resume. There's actually going to be some sort of exhibition, it looks like. So that only thickens the plot a little bit. I always look forward to our Inside Access segments, Game In, Game Out with Lauren Rosen. I'm really looking forward to the interview that she's going to present to us tonight. But first, we got to throw it to the Sixers. Giving it up for Antoine Mapp, Sixers. Great group. Love the energy they bring. If we were all in the arena, but certainly here to 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. And that, Lauren, brings us to Inside Access.
Yes, indeed. You are used to hearing from your 76ers at this point, but today we had something a little special. Yesterday, of course, was National Girls and Women in Sports Day. I had the opportunity to talk to a couple really special young ladies who will be part of the 76ers family moving forward because of the Nike Game Growers Initiative. So check out our conversation later on. I am joined now by our Nike Game Growers for the 76ers, Leilani and Nyla. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to have you here. Could I just maybe get your reaction to winning this award and now being part of our 76ers family? Leilani, why don't you go first?
When I first got the news, I screamed of excitement. Like, I was on the phone, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, I got in. I couldn't believe it. It was really crazy.
Nyla, what about you?
Just very excited that I got in, and yeah.
Well, we are very excited to have you. And for those that are watching along now, just know that this means that these are two women that have really put their hands up trying to advance women in sports and women who play sports. And now they're being honored by Nike and by the 76ers. So keeping that in mind, do you guys have any favorite 76ers, favorite memories of maybe watching the Sixers? What's your connection like with the team?
I love Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, man. Like, they're like my two favorite in there.
They are awesome, and they are off to quite a start. Have you been watching along this season?
Yes, definitely.
What do you think? You think they can go all the way?
Everything.
Do you think they could maybe go all the way this year?
Hopefully they have a team, so hopefully they go all the way.
I think
they win it for us.
They beat the Lakers, so
yeah, they beat the Lakers, so that's a good point. They beat LeBron, man. Come on.
I love that game as well. Nella, what about you?
I think my favorite player is Joel Embiid because he basically carries the team. So, yeah.
He's pretty awesome. And as of just moments ago for this conversation, when we use this, it'll be yesterday. Joel was named Eastern Conference Player of the Month, which is awesome. And I know he really cares about his fans like you guys. So thank you so much for rocking with us. And we are so proud of you, so excited to have you in the family. Congratulations once again. And here at the center, we have a special recognition for our game growers, Leilani and Nyla. If you guys can see it, we're making sure to honor them, even though they cannot be here with us tonight. We're so proud of the work that all the young women in our Sixers community are doing, especially Leilani and Nyla. So thank you so much, ladies, and congratulations once again. I am going to come back now.
Doing the hit and directing while operating the laptop camera. Lauren Rosen does it all. And I got to say, great job by Lauren Rosen. Today we had a company-wide 76ers National Girls and Women's in Sports Day panel. Lauren hosted it with some other leading female executives across sports. It was great. Job well done. I love listening to it. It was very cool.
Thanks, Sel. It's always a pleasure to connect with some of the leading women in this industry. It's always a pleasure to get to hear different people's stories, whether you're one of our game growers that's just coming up in the industry or some of the more accomplished folks around the industry. So always a pleasure to connect with other women, and shout out to all our young, old, middle women that are Sixers fans. We love having you along, and you are not alone.
76ers have the Portland Trail Blazers tonight. Portland is tied for 6th in the Western Conference, but you would figure, at least as it is chalking up on paper right now, the hill will be considerable for the Blazers tonight. Yes, the 76ers do not have Ben Simmons due to a left calf strain that is not considered to be serious. However, the Trailblazers, could always be worse. Trailblazers don't have Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic, Derek Jones Jr., Zach Collins. Who else did I miss, Lauren? Nasir Little?
Nasir Little? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a healthy wealth of talent to be missing. Robert Covington, however, in for the Portland Trailblazers. They added him during the offseason. Always good to see Cov, who's averaging a little bit more than 7 points and about 5.5 rebounds per game. So I'll be honest, Lauren, I especially early on in the season, and really at any point in the season, I love to see the 76ers measure themselves against other good teams at full strength. Maybe that opportunity will come next week when the Sixers are at Moda, but no Dame Lillard. But here's a look at Robert Covington.
Always a fan favorite here in the center, and I know if Sixers fans were here, they would be happy to welcome him back tonight. That is, of course, as long as he doesn't play too well against our 76ers. It will be a pleasure to see Cov out there tonight. And like you said, interesting to see maybe if we can get this Blazers team at full strength next week when the Sixers visit them, playing the Blazers in 2 of their next 4 games. So it'll be a quick turnaround. And it would be interesting if the Sixers could get a more fully loaded Blazers team to measure themselves against next week in Portland.
The crazy thing is how long Cov's been gone now. I can't believe it. Like, just thinking back, like Robert Covington has been gone for a long time. 3 teams worth now.
Believe it or not, he and I did not overlap here
I know. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like you've been here forever. So crazy. All right. Keys. Yes. To the game. It is time. Our Tissot keys to the game. I went first last night. I'm going to have Lauren go first tonight.
I can do it. That is fine by me. Our keys to the game presented by Tissot. I know we have a countdown clock, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. My key to the game is play your game. Keep it simple. This is a depleted Trailblazers team. The 76ers have shown how good they can be with or without all of their starters. So tonight is a perfect opportunity for the group to capitalize on, let's say, a weaker opponent because of how shorthanded the Blazers are. So set the tone on defense as you have claimed to want to do all season, and then back it up on offense. And if you're the Sixers, you should be in pretty good shape.
So my key to the game, I'm not sure if our crack production staff of Ryan Coletti and Trevor Gaffney took this seriously, but I meant what I wrote into our pregame show sheet, which is I got nothing. Tonight, I think the 76ers, based on talent alone, they should be able to, I got nothing. Go out there, do their thing, much to the point that you made, Lauren. I will say Enes Kanter, who's going to start at the 5 for Portland in the absence of Nurkic, he's played Joel tough at times, so that could be something to watch. But no Lillard, no McCollum, no Nurkic. Sixers, go do your thing. And
I'm with it.
To the game.
Love that.
I don't know what that says about me, Lauren, that I said my key to the game was I got nothing, and I still found a way to ramble for 24 seconds.
Well,
Verbosity
you were
is
justifying
one of my main
the nothingness.
flaws.
No, you did great, Celts.
Yes. All right. Well, that will do it for tonight's 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot. I'm looking forward to this game tonight. Lauren, I'm really looking forward to connecting, at least on this platform, for Saturday's game at the Center against the Sixers and the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes, indeed. That should be a big one. Of course, assuming that they will bring their entire staff of players to the court. It could be another really cool barometer type game. Doc Rivers actually addressed that pregame, and I know we're wrapping up, but I will say he said he likes to see the Sixers win the games they're supposed to win and fight against teams that they're supposed to fight with. And they have done that thus far. Hopefully Thursday, tonight, and Saturday against the Nets will be another example of beating teams you're supposed to beat and fighting with teams you're supposed to fight with.
I agree. Love it. 2 podcast programming reminders. The morning after every game, The Scoop. Go to wherever you get your pods. Search 76ers Podcast Network and 76ers Scoop. And then also tomorrow, our weekly Friday deep dive with Lauren, myself, and Devon Givens. We're going to talk about what makes a good coaching fit, looking at Eastern Conference Coach of the Month, Doc Rivers, and Steve Nash. Big splash made in the offseason by the Brooklyn Nets. All right. Thank you, Coletti, Trevor Gaffney, Lauren. Thank you. Enjoy the game, everyone. We'll talk to you on Saturday.
As mentioned before, tonight we are celebrating Black History Month, not only here in the arena, but you can check out all month long at Sixers Social. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's the whole shebang. Shout out to the Sixers Stixers giving us the energy in Squad 7-6. I don't know if you noticed, but they're holding up those big heads for a reason today. I must remind you to get your NBA All-Star votes in. Today counts for a 2-for-1 deal. We're going for Ben Simmons, we're going for Joel Embiid, and we're going for Tobias Harris. Do not forget to vote. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's game, it's going down. A lot of energy. NBC Sports Philadelphia. Shout out to Zoo, shout out to Allah, or you can check it in 97.5, The Fanatic. But ladies and gentlemen, enough talking. Let's get to some Sixers basketball. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Let's go Sixers!